What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jane with a little bit of everything. And in this video today, I want to bring to you on how I edit photos using Photoshop. Now, as you can see, I have an image that is open. It is shot backlit, and I want to bring out that detail in the front. So we shot this natural light out in the desert. So I just want to go through a process of me editing a raw file. A lot of times I just usually edit the JPEG, but this time I'm going to use Photoshop, which I haven't updated in like 10 years. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's how I feel. So let's get the editing, editing portrait. Let's see. Let me click on that. Zoomed in a little bit and back out a little bit. So we want to bring out this area right here so we can see some of those details. So usually I might bump up the exposure some and see what we can do. But I want to bring it up so far to where I blow out the background like that. So I do want to bring it down a little bit. About right there. Just up a little bit. Then I'm going to bump up the shadows and see what we can do from there. Now everything is usually like, let's see what it looks like. And then I'm going to finish it out with how I like and how I want to like it. I mean, how I want it to look. I mean, everybody edits photos differently. And it's to however you feel. So I'm going to bump the shadows up all the way so you can see that's bringing out a little bit of the detail in the face. So then I'm going to go to the whites and see kind of what the whites is going to do. So it's blowing out my clouds and stuff, so I'm going to bring those back some. So I got them up just a smidge so I won't lose that detail in the background. Now I'm going to go and check out this contrast action and see what we can do. So a lot of times I always test my sliders and see what my sliders do. If I go back on the contrast, you see it gets kind of gray. Then if I go up on the contrast, it brings those blacks out, and it also kind of um, brings out a little bit more detail in the skin tones. And then bring it up just a little bit. So if I go all the way up, this is what we get. And I don't want that. I want it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Then I'm going to check the blacks out and see if I darken it up a little bit, it has a little bit more detail in the clothing. So let's see. Highlights. See if I bring two highlights too much, I'm gonna lose that detail on the edge of the hair and then the clouds and stuff. So bring the highlights back just a little bit. And then you just go to the sharpen tool and sharpen it about right there. Bring the noise reduction luminance up so I won't have so much grain. When I sharpen it, and then I want to check out my colors on this HSL tab, grayscale tab, saturations. There's a little bit of greens in here, not too much. So I'm just gonna kind of call it. I got the garage door open, so I'm bringing the garage, bring some of these up, then the blues, aquas, and stuff, like so. So we can make that sky pop a little bit. Then I go to the luminance. Then I'm gonna bring those blues, try to darken them up a little bit. Don't want to make them look like artificial blue, like that. That's not happening. So we're just gonna just blue them up just a little bit. I'm making up words. So we're gonna blue them up just a little bit, and then I'm gonna check these yellows on the saturation because our skin is bronze. We'll bring it down just a little bit. Then yellows, you know, to see what they can do. Yellows, just a tad, to bring out the ground and the sand and the sunlight. So it'll look kind of like daytime. You know what I mean? So now I'm going to go back into the luminance and see what the yellows and the oranges is going to play out with. Just trying to make the image a little bit more colorful. Um, it wasn't that colorful, as you can see. And then I'm going to hit these reds up. Uh, let's see what they do. Because most of your skin tones are in the reds, oranges, and yellows. So we're going to kind of play with these and see what we can do. Now, if I go too much on the red down, I lose I lose a lot of detail. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it back up. Just a smidge. Saturation, bring it up. Just a smidge. This daggone dog. Let me put y'all on pause real quick. I'm back. But I pick up right where I left off. For all the distraction in the background. It looked pretty good from here. Uh, Let me check out a little bit of these hues and see what we can do. No, that's too much. I don't really play with the hues too much, so I'm just gonna act like I ain't never did it before and not mess with them. And then I usually go. So I already had the preset saved, so I'm gonna go run with this one and open it up and see what we can do. But I'm gonna go back in here into this tab and see what we could do with the levels. Why we in here? Because we want to get these levels together beforehand. Bring that back down. Play with the darks a little bit because the darks kind of bring out a little bit of more of the detail in the face. So we can build the contours. And if I can lift some more shadows on this end, that looks good. So as you can see, it was backlit. So we had the hair lit from the sun. We got some background separation here on the arms and the legs, and a little bit on the other side. Zoom in so you can see we got some separation that looks pretty crispy. So now I'm gonna go ahead and open the image up into Photoshop and show you what I do next. So now this is what we have. And usually when I go out of Camera Raw, I usually just play around with the auto tone, contrast, and color just to see if I like it. So I got a workflow that's kind of set up for me to be as expedient as possible and not spend too much time on one particular image. I kind of know in my mind how I want it to look personally. To each his own. Everybody has their own opinions. So I did an auto tone and it kind of brought out everything a little bit more as far as the details in the clothing and some of the highlights and shadows. And I still got my sky and everything else. So that was an auto tone. Let's see if auto contrast can make any difference. No, not really. And the auto color, usually sometimes it'll be a funky color that I don't like too cool. Like this is too cool for school. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go ahead and undo that. Step back or undo auto color. So now I'm gonna go to what I usually do to an image. Now I go to my retouching. I don't do too much frequency separation. I do a little bit of dodge and burning. I have an action for that, and that'll be in another video. Oh, excuse me. So I'm gonna go into. Um, I'll just make a duplicate layer just in case I mess up from where my starting point is. That'll be a copy. Then I'll just turn this one off. So if I do click the arrow, I won't have to um, forget where I was at. So then I'll go into a plugin I like to use. I'm gonna use it for a long time, called Portraiture by Imagenomics. So basically, what this plugin does, it pretty much does frequency separation for you. All right, you pick your color range, and then all your parameters up here. It pretty much smooths out the skin for you. I got it set low, so I want to maintain the um, textures in the skin. I don't sometimes like people use frequency separation. It just looks too much too done up like a doll or whatever. But I like to maintain the textures, and this is a lot faster than using the frequency separation. And I also have an action for that. But as you can see, it processed the skin and made it look smooth. So what I'm gonna do is I click my main color selector, usually pick in between the eyes, then spread it out to the cheeks, and then the legs. So my range is pretty much all oranges. And then my sharpness is on 15. Softness is on 3, so I don't want it to be too soft. So I'm going to bump that down to 2 and see what that looks like. Once this processes, and it takes a while sometimes. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. There you have it. The skin is smooth and everything is good. I got my brightness up a little bit, so I'm going to turn this brightness back down, turn my contrast back down, and bring the warmth down. All is back at 0. So it pretty much does it all for you. If I show my mask, I do a black mask. So you can kind of see the areas. Let me see if the white show up better. Of the skin that is dealing with right up in here. So it's a dark mask. So these are the areas that are being edited and smoothed within this color range. Turn my mask off. Then you see where it's at. I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK and let it do its thing. Everybody edits differently, you know what I mean? So this is just how I go through the process. They usually doesn't take this long, but I'm just going over certain talking points just so you can see. And still, it won't really take that long at all. So once we got this all done up and smooth and fabulous, and we got a lot of shadows and highlights around here, and I'll usually go to my dodge and burn action, which is right here, just to bring out a little bit of everything else. So once you run a dodge and burn action, I'll just show you how it's done. All right, first you do a curves adjustment layer 1, name it dodge. Then you do a curve adjustment layers 2, name it burn. Okay. Then you group these two together and call it group 1. And then you do another group and then name it dodge and burn. Okay. So this is how it's supposed to be done. So I go to my dodge adjustment layer, I right click it, hit blending options, right? Let me get this off. So then you're going to use this bottom left slider, and what it's going to do is going to move it to the right, and then what it's going to highlight your shadow portions, as you can see that they are getting darker and darker and darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. And you don't want that. You want it to just edge them a little bit. So what that's going to do, and we're going to blend all this together. And I'm going to go right there because I have a lot of shadow and the chest area and the legs. You hit your alternate key, hold alternate, and then it's going to click this triangle, and it's going to split this bottom triangle right here. And you take this bottom triangle, and once you look at these, you'll see them blend out and fade out. Slide it. Boom. To however far you want to go, whatever you like. Okay. So now I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go to the burn layer. back to blending options, and instead of grabbing that bottom left, you're going to go to the bottom right, where as you can see, it's the whites. So you're going to do the same process, adjust it to where you want your highlights to start and stop. And then you click alternate, the alt key on Windows, and then you split that triangle down at the bottom, and then you move it and you blend your highlights with your shadows. Now there you have your dodge and burn portion. So it did it to the entire image right here. So now I'm gonna go and to the group. All these are grouped already. So I just minimized them. So now I'm gonna click the dodge and burn um, main group, and then I'm gonna add a mask to that. And once I add the mask, boom, and then you hit Control I, and it's gonna make that mask black. So whatever you paint will be in white. I'm gonna go to my brush tool, give me a nice soft brush, and bring it down. So you don't want the dodge and burning to be on the clothes and the background and the sky. You want that dodge and burn just to be on the skin tones. So I'm just gonna paint in where I want that effect to go only, right? And all images react to this differently, but we're just gonna paint this in with the brush. Oh, let me go back because I went too far out on the leg. So I'm just gonna hit that edge of it just a little bit right there. On the thigh and the leg. I'm gonna hit the abdomen. Put that effect on there. Right. All the skin. Right. And this is the quick tip, quick steps on the skin. There's a little shadow on that hand, but we're gonna worry about that another day. There, under the neck. Now I'm back. Zoom in. Boop, 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 boop. Then I'm gonna go to the face and do the same thing there. On the skin. Not on the eyeballs. We got something for the eyeballs. And all images react differently. You know what I mean? So all things don't work on everything. So now once I got that done, that is complete. But dodge and burn is only on the skin portions. And then you can zoom out here and see what we're looking like right now. Now what I'm going to do next is that I am going to whatever that noise was. I'm going to go ahead and do an eye whitening brush real quick. I got this off the web somewhere, so they're everywhere. So then I want to take this. You can go to, I think his name is Prince Mason. He has this for free. You can download this. So shout out to Prince Mason for hooking us up with this eyes and teeth whitening brush. So I'm gonna open this up, and then on the photo filter layer mask, I am going to paint over the eyes. Uh-oh. Move my phone from the microphone there. Might help. So I'm going to paint the eyes, and I'm going to take my opacity down to like 50% because crazy like white eyeballs kind of look funny. And I still want it to look a little natural. So the eyes are the whites. And there we have it. Bring that back down. Boom, 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 boom. There you have it. I think I'm a little too small for y'all. Hold up. There we go. So then after that, once I'm done with all this stuff right here, I can fine tune later. But then I go to my main area and then I go to sharpen. So we soften the image. Now I want to sharpen it back up. And I go to sharpen and the filters and I go to unsharp mask. And pretty much it says what I had last. So my threshold is down to 0. My radius is up to like 4 or something. So usually I like to stick to the eye area and click on and click off and see what that does with the everything. So I'm gonna go to um, about 66%, and then my radius. So you can see how much when the radius just obliterates this photo. I keep it around 4 to 5 pixels. And then I hit OK. Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. And sometimes, like, I know I'm not no Photoshop expert or nothing like that, so I kind of like try to trial and error figure things out. I kind of want to get these dark spots off the hands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an adjustment layer for brightness and contrast. Same thing. I'm going to control I that, and then I'm going to paint softly where I want this to effect to appear. Just right here. And then I'm going to start making my adjustments. And we're going to try to brighten these little spots up just a little bit. I might have to go all the way up. Now I can see it now. And I can kind of paint it, but I don't want to paint too much. So I'm going to go back and then leave my flow. I'm bringing the flow down just a little bit. And sometimes if it start to mess up, I just go back out and leave it alone sometimes, because sometimes it don't look right. So I'm gonna step back. And the contrast is gonna brighten it up just a little bit. Do that. Those are where I put my spots at. Brighten them up just a smidge. And like I said before, no one's and I don't like it because I can't freaking figure everything out. I'm no expert, but you got to learn somehow. And today probably is not the day. So I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna turn off this layer, leave it like that, so we know this is what I'm working with. Sometimes it may be a fail, or sometimes it may be a succession. But I think I could just probably turn it back on, and then step back some, because you're gonna run into problems, especially with friggin' Photoshop or with any image, because like I said, no expert. So we're gonna kind of take that, and I'll bring the opacity out on this layer just a little bit, so it looked like I tried. So now I've sharpened everything up. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make it a little tinier and just see what we have from here. All images come out a little different. I could do the same thing to like the legs. So if I want to, I can do another adjustment layer and brighten it up a little bit. And then once I get done painting, just brighten it up just a little bit. So we want kind of stuff to kind of match, because sometimes certain parts don't be where they could be or should be. And like I said, thank God it's a raw image, because if it was a freaking JPEG, we'd be here all day trying to brighten up stuff. Should I did that? No. It'll look a lot better though, but let me go ahead and bring it back up some more. Just a tad. And step back. Right there. Brighten that up just a little bit. And then we're going to hit these wicks. A bit more. And there we have the majority of the final edit. Like, if you don't know when to stop, sometimes it might just not work out how you want it to work out. So, did that, undo that, bam. So now we get in there. So now we could just play around with other stuff. I mean, this is like mostly what the final image is gonna look like. And I do a little bit of more fine tuning, but I just wanted to show y'all a simple process of just messing with an image and editing the way I edit. You can go follow some of my work at DLeroy underscore photography. That's DLAROY underscore photography. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm no expert, but guess what? I'm trying, and this is what we got. Thanks for watching. Peace out.